Hello and welcome everybody out there to our episode number 33. It's a great pleasure, great honor to have, I call you Harry. Is that fine? Is that fine with you?
It's
Because
it's totally
Rabran
fine.
Bankov, I love your name. It's a cool name you have, but Marketing Harry is your brand. That's your name. Most people out there know you, and it's a great pleasure to have such a young, talented guy. And I have to tell everybody in the introduction, I can only highly recommend getting in touch with Marketing Harry to learn more about how to dominate social media. But in the sense dominating, we will dive
Yeah,
into this as well. But dominating for me was learn how to move myself, how to get the first steps using social media. So I highly recommend. I know that there are also others out there. I, for some reason, stepped into you and was really happy and excited about what I have learned from you, and even being such a young person. So let's start directly with the first question I always ask my people I'm interviewing. Raben, tell us a little bit more about you.
thank you so much for the great introduction. As my name suggests, Rabran, this is my full name. It actually means bravery. And this is where my whole brand approach and whole approach to social media marketing also comes into play. Because bravery and doing things differently, things in a bolder way is actually my motto. This is what I stand for. And to a huge surprise, this is what a lot of people also resonated. For one reason or another, this is how I was able to build a community with more than 140,000 followers across Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Because to a certain extent, on social media, there is a lot of clutter. There are a lot of voices. Some of these voices are not highly educated, others are not truly experts and are only faking it. So there was a necessity of someone who can truly share first from experience and secondly in a more methodical way which is based on data, and this is what I mostly do. I utilize evidence-based knowledge and combine it with human psychology in order to come up with some pretty interesting techniques which we will be diving in for growing and truly dominating social media.
Super cool. So maybe one topic that we talked about in the introduction. So you represent one of the young generation going away from conventional
Yeah,
advertisement, conventional marketing. So the big agency we know that are all over the planet with a lot of connections are losing young talents like you,
yeah,
because the young talents, they decide either to become influencer. So I know, for example, a sister of a dentist I know, and she has 1 million followers, and she stopped being a dentist because she makes much more money showing bags and showing things and working for companies,
yeah,
influencing, than working as a dentist. So I think this is a new generation, but I think it's harder work than a lot of people think. So
yeah.
tell me a little bit more about this. So I don't think that it's just 5 minutes fun every day and jumping around. So it must be more behind that.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Great question. So in terms of growing on social media, in terms of becoming an influencer, in terms of becoming a content creator, either to produce revenue for your business or in order to truly present yourself as an individual to the world, it definitely takes a lot of hard work. And it takes a lot of hard work because the level of entry is set so high as well. With millions and millions of users and content creators around the world, standing out has never been more difficult. And with time, with the development of social medias, with taking more and more of the market share of traditional media, and we are going to be discussing all about this further in the episode, it is completely normal for the barrier to entry to keep increasing as more creators are jumping on board, becoming influencers, promoting their business. So standing out is more difficult than ever. So for me, I always love giving this analogy, just like an iceberg. There are the tip of the iceberg, which is above the water, and people are seeing is only one portion of the reality, which is hidden behind the, let's say, social media facade. So most influencers who are portraying their life being so easy, so glamorous, in fact, have a lot of work that needs to back that up in order for it to sustain. And the keyword is sustain, because you can grow. This is, let's say, the first step. The first filter is people quitting because they can't grow. The second filter might be quitting because you have grown, but you cannot grow sustainably. So for me, it is all about not only dominating, but dominating in the long term. Because at the end of the day, we should care not if we are here in 30 days, but if we are here in 300 days. There's no point in short-term gains.
Absolutely, I agree completely. So tell me a little bit more. Why? Oh no, just this was the wrong question. So,
No worries, no worries.
no, no, by the sequence. You're very successful on Instagram, and and you started now also a YouTube channel, and I'm 100% sure that you will also be successful on YouTube. Although I think YouTube is a larger ocean with much more sharks inside, and so it's more difficult to swim in the ocean of YouTube. But the question is also for me, my two favorite social media channels are Instagram, because I'm a dentist, I'm a dental photographer, so I'm a visual person. So for me, Instagram was there was no question to start with Instagram, and YouTube being something different, being the new TV for not only the young generation. So this was my decision to take these two. You selected the same. So what was your reason, or are you active also on other social media?
Yeah, great question. In terms of choosing the right social media platforms, I look at it from a different standpoint. I take a look at first barrier to entry, something we have already discussed. I look at potential for monetization, because at the end of the day, I'm not an influencer, I'm a business owner, so I have to sustain my business. I do have a social media agency. And then I looked at the future of the platform. So Instagram was the number one choice because I had the most experience in growing an Instagram brand and was the most confident that I can grow an Instagram brand in the shortest amount of time. Afterwards, I choose to jump on LinkedIn because there is a huge potential for organic growth on LinkedIn, and because the barrier to entry was relatively low. At the same time, the potential for monetization is relatively high. And lastly, I jumped on YouTube because for me, whilst every other social media platform can have a point which it cannot surpass, let's say Facebook, Instagram, they can get 1, 2, 3 billion people, active users. But how many more can they get? The only reason that they might get more users is going to be new people, the newest generation, people who are 5 to 10 years old right now, jumping on the platforms for the first time. Whilst platforms such as YouTube, they have not only capitalized the largest audience, so from children to seniors are all on YouTube, but they have also start peeling away from the market cap from traditional sources such as television. And there is a huge market which is still untapped for platforms such as YouTube. Whilst Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, there's a hard market cap which they cannot surpass.
I think the major problem of Facebook, and I told you that also in the last interview, our oldest son told me, but this is many years ago, when he got an invitation, a friendship request from his grandfather. It was time for him. It was time for him to leave Facebook. And I see that you can create large communities very easily on Facebook, but there's no real activity. For me, it's more a happy birthday platform, meet some old friends. And I think the big mistake that Facebook did was that the timeline is not a timeline anymore. So the things I experienced that I posted something on Facebook in the group I have for the journal, and one post was viewed immediately by 2,000 people, and the next post what I thought was much, much, much more interesting was never seen, you know? So
Yeah.
it's very difficult to really get a flow. I think in Instagram it's much easier to get into a flow, to have a sequence, to tell a story with your posts, with your stories, with all you're doing. Rather, Facebook is something
Yeah.
nobody knows how it really works. So I see it that way.
There is a ton of things which are different. For me, Facebook is just the mainstream platform. It's trying to be everything for everyone, and that's why it is having a hard time standing out. It's not like Instagram, which has a clear, unique selling proposition, which is visuals content. It's not like YouTube, which it has another unique selling proposition, or even platforms such as Clubhouse, which are only audio-based. It has videos, it has live streams, it has single images, it has text-only posts. It doesn't really stand out in any particular way. It's being a jack of all trades. That's why I believe that Facebook has the largest base of users, but at the end of the day, the quality that the users are interacting with Facebook has only been going down with time.
Yeah. So the next question I just highlighted quickly was, so if myself or let's say younger people want to start using social media, what advice can you give them? So my experience was, my first experience I had on social media was very negative, because the problem I had was that I shared too much private information. And then social media had an impact, a negative impact on my private life. I didn't want that, but at one point you cannot escape from that. So my second attempt now, using social media more on in a professional way. So I using it. So I thought, what do I want to show? What is my message? Where do I want to go? And focusing on exclusively this professional thing, and not just posting when I go out and eat a pizza or meet friends. So what do you think? Or I know that you also started on a professional base with a professional goal in mind, but if somebody young wants to start, what advice can you give young people?
Yeah, the number one advice is don't have any expectations. This doesn't mean don't set any goals. Apologies. No, have clear goals, but don't have expectations for reaching them. Because expectations come with stress, and stress comes with pressure, and pressure leads to burnout. And if you burn out, if you don't do things sustainably, then sooner or later you are going to be giving up. That's why when I first started out, I had a goal. I wanted to reach a certain amount of people. I didn't want a certain amount of followers. I wanted to reach a certain amount of people with my content. And on top of that, I said that I will be trying things out, no matter how they are going. If they were going great or nobody saw my content, I was going to be trying things out for 100 days consistently, no matter if 0 people followed me or 10,000 people followed me. So for me, the number one advice is don't have any expectations. It will save you a lot of stress, and it will increase your chances of not giving up. And because social media is all about a difficulty curve and the growth curve. In the beginning, it's super difficult. You know it as a content creator. Content creation takes time. Engaging with your audience takes time. Nurturing your community takes time. Building relationships with clients. Everything takes time. So it's super difficult in the beginning. You don't have the right habits. You don't have all the data. There's nothing for you in the beginning. So it's super difficult. With time, with building habits, the difficulty curve starts going down. You start understanding more about your audience. You start understanding more about how social media works. In the same time, the growth curve starts going up. You start seeing some results, people start trusting you more, you start building habits with your audience. So while the difficulty goes down, the growth starts going up. And then in the center, there's one crucial moment. When difficulty is still not at the lowest and growth still isn't at the highest, most people give up. So they haven't seen results and they give up. And this is the number one mistake, giving up too soon. You need to realize that without any expectations, with proper commitment, 100 days are usually enough to see some kinds of results and return, and for you to determine if you'd like to continue. You're going to make it.
Yeah,
go ahead.
That's good. Yeah. But maybe I will also throw in the comment I made before we started the interview
Of course.
with the research on how many young people are active on social media. So before the pandemic in Switzerland, we're talking about Switzerland, but I think it's a representative
Yeah, it's
country
global. Yeah.
For use of social media. 92% of the young people were on social media every day. During the pandemic, the number dropped down to 80%. And you highlighted exactly what the reason is.
Yeah.
The pressure was not there. So under pressure, people get burned out and don't know what to do. And if the pressure, and they try to be more active, they get hyperactive. So they get hyperactive and maybe doing wrong things before they really stop. But now with the corona, with the pandemic, everything slowed down. And even the young generation on social media slowed down. So this is very interesting. So the whole life, the physical life and the virtual life have slowed down during this pandemic. And what are your feelings about that, or what are your observations regarding this pandemic year? You grew during one of the most difficult times. You started your business and you are very successful. Do you think that the pandemic helped you with your business or not?
Yeah. So in terms of my business, I already had an established agency 3 years before the pandemic happened. So I had that just down. And one of the reasons why I chose social media in the first place was because no matter if there is a pandemic, no matter if there is a financial downturn, social media and marketing will always be a skill which is needed, even more so in times of crisis. So in terms of my business only flourished during the pandemic. Now, in terms of my personal brand, I always have thought that, and this is a Stoic philosophy, that in every dark moment, there is a light of hope. For me, because during the pandemic, again, everything slowed down. I didn't have as many responsibilities. I could have stayed and worked at home. I didn't have to go to the office that I own. I could have afforded more time spending for some of the passion projects which I've had. And building my personal brand has always been a passion project for me. So again, it's all about seeking opportunities in times of which most people can see only frustration and hopelessness.
Oh yeah, you're a good example of the young generation that has a drive of passion of moving forward. I see also a lot of young people giving up too early.
Yeah.
Let's say like kind of no future generation. But it makes me happy that there are a lot of young people out there who believe in the future, who put in a lot of effort to drive not only themselves, but also the community forward. The next question is one that I have to ask somebody like you. And let's talk about the algorithm. I think this is one of the most used words these days, and it seems to there's an algorithm in everything. Our whole life seems to be run by algorithms. I had a patient telling me he was talking on the phone with a friend about shoes.
Yeah, and then he got targeted on Facebook. Yeah.
He was talking on the phone, and 5 minutes later, he had in his email box advertisement about sneakers. Isn't that crazy? Isn't it crazy how we are controlled, how these algorithms in every part of not only social media, of our whole life are really dominating more and more our life? What do you think about that?
I definitely think that not only algorithms for me, they were misunderstood. Technology in general, and gathering data and consuming data and utilizing data to basically manipulate, because there are both black hat and white hat utilization of everything. Humans have always used data ever since ancient Egyptian times. They used to write things on walls, they used to record things, they used to record how much food they had, they used to record how much people were taking. So data has always been a part of our human civilization. Now, with the increasing use of technology, data has only become more and more important, and that's normal. It can help you out a ton. The ways which most marketers, though, are utilizing data is manipulative and hurtful. It's losing the trust of users, and the more you lose the trust of users, the less likely they are to trust someone else in the future as well. It's called the burning effect. So you overburn your audience, and then this same audience is not going to trust a similar product in the future. Keeping this into consideration, for me, algorithms, they are predictable. They are predictable in the fact that they do not control everything. They try to control users, but at the end of the day, what happens is, let's say we are content creators. We depend on the algorithms, but algorithms depend on users, and users are changing their behavior. Let's say user A likes dentist photography content right now, but after 1 year, this type of content might not be relevant to him anymore. So he's changing. And the goal of the algorithm is to catch up to him. So us as content creators then are faced with two choices. We can either choose A, to go chase that algorithm, which on its own is chasing the user, or option B, optimize directly for the end users in mind. So for me, it's all about a good mix of both. That's why in the beginning I said that I personally have a science background. So I am utilizing the data-driven approach. And then I'm combining it with understanding of customer behavior and human psychology in order to really combine these two different elements into something which can enable me to both optimize for algorithms and optimize for the end user alike.
Makes sense, but sometimes I still no, I know, and you can try it by yourself if you go on the search part of your Instagram account, and then for 2-3 days you click always, maybe you get presented with a dog, a picture of a dog, and then you click several times on the dog, and then after 3 years you get tons of dogs presented to your account.
I definitely agree. I agree. I cannot.
So you can manipulate it yourself, what you get presented. So is that correct?
Yeah, even on Facebook, for example, there is an option in which you can choose and see all your interests, which Facebook has gathered for you, and you can choose to remove some interests. So this is the first thing that I wanted to mention. And then the second thing is that you can manipulate the algorithms both positively and negatively. So with the positive sentiments, let's say like liking something, and then with negative sentiments such as reporting something, but going past it or really fast, not engaging, bouncing off the platform. So both positively and negatively, you can impact the algorithms. And this is something which a lot of creators miss out. They think that only likes, only saves get them, let's say, virality, but in terms, it's a combination of a lot of factors, including negative sentiments.
Okay, yeah, cool. So in all this context, we see that marketing is developing in a completely different direction. How do you see the future of marketing? Do you see it in really a growing group of these lone riders like you are, fighting, chasing customers, or we discussed that the big agencies might lose their power because young talented people prefer to do their business directly by themselves? Or what do you see?
Yeah. So in terms of marketing agencies, freelancers, and then small agencies, boutique agencies such as myself, for example, I do think that everyone will have a piece of the pie. And big agencies will still have talent because not every talented copywriter, designer wants to create a business of his own. So there's a huge difference between being a business owner and being a marketer, being a business owner and being a designer. So this is the first thing. I think that yes, people will become more entitled, and with the rise of social media, with the rise of personal brands, more people are going to be building personal brands, but that doesn't mean that there won't be enough talent for big agencies. On the other hand, I don't think that all the one writers, all the boutique agencies are going to be fighting for clients. I think that there's plenty of fish in the ocean, and especially with the rising growth of digital marketing, there's no short supply of clients. So for me, it's abundant. And then on the topic of marketing in general and how it is going to be continuing to evolve as an industry, I see traditional marketing changing from being the dominating type of marketing to being more of a supporting role. I definitely believe that real life interactions still will hold value, at least in the next 10 to 15 years. They will still have a lot of authority. You seeing that brand in a billboard or in a TV commercial will still have some kind of authority attached to it because it's more exclusive, because the barrier to entry is higher. But I think that the main cure of that, the traditional marketing industry, will be virtual reality and mixed realities. This is a whole new direction that marketing will be taking, and it will definitely push the digital marketing element even further. Until that point, until mixed reality and virtual reality become the mainstream thing. Right now, it is mainly early adopters. I think that traditional marketing will still have a big play in our day-to-day lives.
That's a good comment, because I'm working on virtual reality and augmented reality projects right now for dental companies, and I have to show you what we are doing. It's amazing, and we also work with Unreal Engine. So with a lot of modern tools, we started exploring also the meta humans.
That's
So
great. That's great.
this is amazing. It's really, and for me, I was always excited about digital technology. When I was a young kid, I was buying the first digital watch from Sony, where the time was
Yeah.
like moving, and the Walkman and all these digital gadgets over the years. And I was always fascinated. And now I'm really fascinated about virtual reality and augmented reality. And we're doing a lot of interesting stuff in also in this direction. But this is another another
Yeah.
topic. So we're also working on a virtual reality experience to learn photography. So I think
great.
my community has has some really interesting things coming up they even don't know about, but I tell you now. And I really want to share something that you shared with me, your latest product from zero. I like your wording. You're the brave one. You dominate from zero to hero. So these are words that are very old school, very old school terms. And I was really amazed that that a young talented guy. By the way, this is a super cool brochure you have designed. I went through a part of it, and it's really great and cool, and represents also one of these new tools of digital marketing, combining different things. You are sending out also newsletters, and yeah, it's really amazing what you're doing with all this. But coming back, what is it by purpose that you are choosing these old school terms in relation to something that is something new?
Yeah. So it's definitely part of my brand identity as whole. So there's visual identity, which is what you're seeing in terms of colors, what you're seeing in terms of images, what you're seeing in terms of styling, and then there are the tone of voice. So for me, being the brave social media marketer, being bold, being authentic, I choose these words on purpose. And even for a non-PG live stream, my approach is the non-bullshit approach. to social media marketing, because there are a lot of myths out there. There are a lot of fake information out there. There's a lot of unverified information out there. There's a lot of shallow information out there. And in order to stand out, I chose the approach to go deeper than everyone else, to show more than anyone else. So for me, I definitely chose these words: dominate, crush, build an empire, grow from zero to hero on purpose, because they allow me to truly stand out from competition.
No, I was in the beginning, I was not quite sure about your wording, but the more I'm following you, the more I'm reading what you are posting and publishing, I see the strategy. I see what I believe that I can see a little bit behind the scene what your goals are. But it's a great story. It's a cool strategy. It's brave.
Thank you.
It's a brave strategy. So let's jump to the next point. This is an ongoing question we already had last time. Can one make money on social media? If yes, what does it take? And let me make a short introduction. There's a lot of accounts that start or want to create traffic, get more followers by promising, I tell you how you can make money. And and I'm not following these accounts anymore, because I think most of them are fake, in a sense of, okay, you tell me every day, I tell you how you can make money. Then my answer was, yes, I know. I go to my office in the morning. I work from 8 to 5. And this is the way I make money. And if I'm on social media, until now, it is fun. I'm still in the learning phase. I try to grow. I try to find my way. I try to be a little bit different than my colleagues, learning a little bit from the mistakes they made, but never promise somebody to make money. This is like this fake thing. I'm a doctor, whatever, from Nigeria, and I have to transfer $1 million from my grandmother. Please send me your bank account details. Harry, send me your bank account details, and I can wire you the money immediately. So
definitely. So yeah, there are definitely a lot of snake oil merchants out there, and that's why I said that, again, my approach is completely different to everything else out there. Having said that, to answer the main question, yes, you can make money on social media, with social media, from social media. But it's really important to understand that social media doesn't print out money. Social media prints out attention. Then you need a business. You need a business model that can take that attention and turn it into revenue. So social media on its own, most social media platforms at least, YouTube and Facebook are the only exceptions in terms of their video content, which is monetized, and then they pay their creators directly. But most social media platforms don't pay you a cent for what you're doing. They generate your attention. And I can argue that attention is the most valuable currency out there. It's more valuable than money. It's more valuable than Bitcoin. It's more valuable than anything else out there, because attention is the most sacred thing that a person can give you. And then from that point onwards, what you do with that attention and how you turn it from an eyeball to a cash is up to you. It's up to your business. It's up to your business model. So yes, you can make money from social media, but social media doesn't print out money. Social media prints out attention. And it's up to you, to your business, to your funnels, to your monetization strategy to turn that attention into revenue.
So I also fall into the trap, in your trap. No, but I was lucky to get to fall into the trap you placed on social media, creating attention.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wow, I'm wondering what this young guy is doing. And then I got in touch with you. And again, I think it was for me a good decision. I also made bad decisions, talking to people where at the end I had to admit, okay, so what are you telling me now? I don't learn anything. I don't see your point. But I think on a long term, what you're doing will be successful. And I also feel that creating the attention and then trying to move people to a product, to a website, to somewhere else, and create an event, create something. I'm trying to, or I have created a conference. I create content. So for me, my Instagram is a marketing tool to create attention, but not primarily at this time to make money. What I have seen is that people are sending me products to review, and they send me the products for free and ask me to post my experience if it's positive. If it's negative, if it's negative, I don't know if they want me to post my bad experience on a product. But I think you can create cooperation, networking around your niche, and then at one point maybe start thinking of monetizing more what you're doing. Is that also a way you think it's a way to go?
For me, monetization comes down to diversification. So it is place as many hooks as possible. And this is where funnels come into place. For me, we've done a consultation with you before. This is my top of the funnel. Then I can do and help people even further by creating a strategy. And then I can even help them even further by creating a retainer, which I can help them basically on a monthly basis. So it's all about diversification. That's why I created my ebook as well, because that's yet another revenue stream for me. I have consultations, I have an ebook, I have strategies, I have do it for you. I have all these different ways to monetize. And this is the key to monetization in my opinion. You can never trust one source of monetization, and you can never trust one source of growth. Just like, for example, in investment, I have a pretty sustainable investment portfolio, but I don't buy on the stocks. I have Bitcoin, I have other cryptocurrencies, I have altcoins, I have real estate. So there are all these different versions of investment, and there are all these different versions of monetization and growth.
Interesting. I'm really amazed. So to come to an end of this really great discussion, I want to ask you, what are your next projects? What can we expect from Marketing Harry? So, for example, are you thinking of rebranding your account? So I see that some accounts, after a while, they change completely because they feel that they have to change completely. What are your projects, or what is the future of Marketing Harry?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in terms of rebranding, I think that my visual identity, my tone of voice, my audience definitions, these are all on point. So I don't plan on rebranding anytime soon. In terms of the things that I plan on doing is definitely diversifying my social media presence. That's why I'm going really big on LinkedIn. I've seen a lot of success there in terms of organic reach. In terms of followers, I have more than 5,000 followers there. In terms of YouTube, I just crossed 2,000 subscribers as well. So it's a slow journey, it's a painful journey, but for me, it is definitely worth it. I don't want to only have one channel. That's why I also have email marketing going on. It's all about diversification. So my projects right now are all focused on building not only a castle for myself, but building an empire. And that requires diversifications, that requires setting foot in different endeavors and not only counting on one thing, which in my case was Instagram.
Great. I love the empire. So Marketing Harry, the brave one. It's like Braveheart.
yeah. You see, it's one of
so I think you watched a lot of these old school movies, and even being so young, of the old school movies of being brave and conquer the world and create an empire. I really like that. So, Rabren, thank you very much. Maybe you have a final comment to our audience out there. What I want to tell everybody, sure, you subscribe to Marketing Harry's Instagram account. YouTube channel. It's easy to find. So you can also subscribe to my account and my Instagram channel. But so what are your last words to the audience? So before just give me a second. What I do is also this interview will be streamed live on Instagram. I found a great way using OBS Studio and Yellow Duck. You know Yellow Duck?
Yeah, I know it.
Yellow Duck is a small free software. OBS Studio is a small free software which gives you a huge amount of possibilities to present yourself on social media. And Yellow Duck is a platform where you can create a live stream on Instagram. And then I have set up my OBS Studio to show these live interviews from YouTube. I stream them, but I stream them upside down. So I tell people, please flip your phone.
Yeah.
And then you hold it like landscape. And then you can watch the interview live. And it's interesting how people react. I do it during lunchtime.
Yeah,
and I call it lunch and learn.
That's great.
And I think it's an interesting approach to share your YouTube content on Instagram in a good quality and share it more. So what do you think about an idea, such ideas? Would you support something like this, or do you think it's useless to do some these streams?
I definitely believe that having yourself streamed in a couple of placements, again, based off the methodology of diversification. So I am all for that. Now, in terms of a live stream, the goal of the live stream is interactions on live with your audience. So for me, this is the aspect which might be missing if you're streaming this. But again, it might be worth the effort.
Yeah, but I can go in and if there are questions, I can answer them as well.
Yeah, that's
it's the live, you know. it's after live. it's the after live show, and I can watch it on my smartphone, and I see who's participating, and I can answer questions.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
That's also possible, and to create more audience to watch the videos, the interviews.
That's true. That's true.
So I'm trying this, and I think there's a lot of experiments to do, and playing around with these amazing tools. And thanks again, Harry. And I'm sure we will stay in touch, and I'm 100% sure we will meet again on one of my next live interviews in a few months, because I'm really wondering, where are you going, how big your empire will be, and how many brave ones will follow your advice. And I'm sure you will have a huge success. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Alessandro.
Take care, and talk to you soon. So last word is yours.
Thank you. So the last words which I have for anyone which might be listening right now is, again, drop expectations, get going, be brave enough to step outside your comfort zone. The worst thing that can happen is for you to waste time, but think about all the other things and activities you're doing and wasting your time. Watching Netflix, watching some stupid movies, interacting and wasting your time in a number of different ways on social media. So the best thing that you can do is take the initiative, start doing your own projects, waste your time, and in fact, either succeed or learn a lesson. So for me, I managed to succeed. It doesn't happen every single time, but if you are consistent and if you are persistent, you can definitely make it happen, brave one. Thank you so much for the time. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Alessandro. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.